Emma lived for Johnny Moon. Every morning she woke up to his face, his music filling her room, his presence almost tangible in the air. She had never met him, but she felt like she knew him better than anyone else. His songs were the soundtrack of her life, each lyric resonating with her soul. His music, her religion, his lyrics, her gospel. She would spend hours deciphering the meaning behind each word, each phrase, trying to understand the man behind the music. She believed that if she could just understand his lyrics, she could understand him. His voice, a siren call in the night. It was the kind of voice that could make you feel every emotion at once, a haunting melody that stayed with you long after the song had ended. Emma would often find herself lost in his voice, letting it guide her through her darkest moments. She plastered her walls with his posters, each one a window into his soul. Her room was a shrine to Johnny Moon, a testament to her devotion. Each poster, each photograph, was a piece of him that she could hold on to, a way to feel closer to him, a soul she craved to know. She would trace the lines of his face with her fingers, imagining what it would be like to touch him, to feel his warmth. She longed to know the man behind the music, to understand the depths of his soul. Johnny Moon, the rock god, the enigma. He was a mystery that she was determined to solve, a puzzle that she was desperate to piece together. His enigmatic aura only fueled her obsession, making her want to know him even more. The obsession that consumed her every thought. She thought about him constantly, her mind always drifting back to him. She would daydream about meeting him, about what she would say, how he would react. It was an obsession that she couldn't escape, a constant presence in her mind. He was darkness and light, a dangerous allure she couldn't resist. There was something about him that drew her in, a magnetic pull that she couldn't ignore. He was a paradox, a blend of contradictions that made him all the more fascinating. He was having a concert in the city next week. It was the moment she had been waiting for, the chance to finally see him in person. She had saved up for months to buy the tickets, counting down the days until she could be in the same room as him. This time, she promised herself, things would be different. She wouldn't just be another face in the crowd. She would find a way to stand out, to make him notice her. She had a plan, a way to finally meet the man who had consumed her thoughts for so long. This time, she would meet him. She walked towards the concert venue with a newfound confidence, her heart pounding with anticipation. She was ready to make her dream a reality, to finally come face to face with Johnny Moon. This was her moment, and she was determined to seize it. The air crackled with anticipation. The crowd was a sea of faces, each one lit with an electric excitement that seemed to charge the very atmosphere. The stadium was a cauldron of emotions, bubbling over with the collective energy of thousands of fans who had gathered for one reason: Johnny Moon. The stadium pulsed, a living, breathing beast hungry for Johnny Moon. Every heartbeat, every breath synchronized with the rhythm of the crowd. It was as if the very walls of the stadium were alive, vibrating with the anticipation that filled the air. The lights dimmed, and a hush fell over the crowd, a moment of collective breath-holding.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for, the incomparable Johnny Moon. The announcer's voice boomed through the speakers, and the crowd erupted into a frenzy. Cheers, screams, and applause filled the air, a cacophony of sound that seemed to shake the very ground beneath their feet.
The first chord struck, a jolt to Emma's heart. Then he emerged, Johnny Moon, the legend, the myth, the man who had captured the hearts of millions. His presence was magnetic, drawing every eye in the stadium to him as he stepped into the spotlight. Bathed in shadow and spotlight, he was a figure of mystery and allure. The light played off his features, casting him in a dramatic silhouette that only added to his enigmatic presence. A fallen angel with a guitar. His fingers danced over the strings, coaxing out a melody that was both haunting and beautiful. It was a sound that seemed to come from another world, a place of dreams and nightmares. His voice, raw and powerful, washed over her. It was a voice that could command armies, that could soothe the most troubled soul. Every note, every word was a spell that held the audience in thrall. She was lost in the music, in the energy of the crowd, in the intoxicating presence of Johnny Moon. The world outside the stadium ceased to exist. There was only the music, the man, and the moment. Closer, she had to get closer. Every step brought her nearer to the stage, to the source of the magic that had ensnared her heart. She pushed through the throng of bodies, driven by a need she couldn't fully understand. It was as if an invisible thread was pulling her towards him, a connection that defied explanation. The music swelled, and with it, her determination. She had to see him, to feel the music up close, to be a part of the symphony of sin that was Johnny Moon's performance. Emma knew getting backstage wouldn't be easy. Security was tight, an impenetrable wall guarding her idol. But she had a plan, a risky, desperate plan.
Hold it right there. Where do you think you're going?
She slipped through the shadows, adrenaline pumping, heart pounding against her ribs. A discarded backstage pass, a stroke of luck, her chance. Backstage was a labyrinth of corridors and closed doors. Emma navigated through the maze, her hand trembling as she clutched a letter. A letter she'd written, pouring her heart out to Johnny.
You can't be here. This area is off limits. S1, who's there?
She found his dressing room, a nameplate simply reading Moon. This was it. Her heart hammered in her chest. She knocked, the sound swallowed by the heavy door. Silence. She knocked again. No answer. Emma pushed the door open, a sense of foreboding washing over her. The room was dark, thick velvet curtains drawn against the outside world. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of musk and something faintly metallic. Then she saw him, Johnny Moon, reclining on a chaise lounge shrouded in shadows. His eyes, glowing with an unnatural intensity, locked onto hers. He looked pale, almost translucent, and his gaze, it held an ancient hunger.
He spoke, his voice a low, mesmerizing purr.
He knew about the letter, about her. He confessed to feeling a connection, a pull towards her. Emma was enthralled, drawn deeper into his web. He offered her a drink, a blood-red liquid swirling in a crystal glass. His touch lingered on her hand, his skin surprisingly cold. Emma, caught in the whirlwind of his presence, accepted. The taste was metallic, shocking. Emma pulled back, her senses reeling.
He watched her, a flicker of something predatory in his eyes. He confessed then, his voice a soft hiss. I'm a vampire.
He'd been alive for centuries, cursed to walk the earth, feeding on the lifeblood of mortals. He swore he wouldn't hurt her, that he felt a different kind of hunger for her. A hunger for companionship, for understanding. Emma, terrified yet strangely exhilarated, believed him. She spent the night with him, caught in the intoxicating spell of his darkness.
He spoke of his past, his pain, his eternal loneliness. I want to be different, to break free from the chains of my curse, he swore.
He made her a promise, a chilling vow whispered in the dead of night. He would turn her, make her his immortal companion. Days turned into weeks. Emma, bound to Johnny by fear and a twisted sense of love, lived in a haze of darkness. He kept her hidden, a secret shared only between them.
One night he brought a visitor. Brother, Johnny called him.
The man turned and Emma gasped. It was him, the photographer from the concert, the one who'd been watching her. The man smiled, a cruel, knowing smirk. His eyes glinted with a sinister light, revealing the dark thoughts that swirled within his mind. He had been planning this moment for a long time, savoring the anticipation of the hunt. He'd been watching her all along, he explained, on Johnny's orders. Every move she made, every breath she took, he had been there, lurking in the shadows. His presence was a constant, unseen threat, a dark cloud hanging over her life.
Johnny didn't want to break his curse. He wanted a sacrifice. The curse was a part of him, a dark gift that he had come to embrace. But to maintain his power, to grow stronger, he needed more. He needed a fresh soul to offer his master in exchange for eternal power. The ritual was ancient, a dark pact with forces beyond comprehension. The price was high, but the rewards were unimaginable. Johnny was willing to pay that price, no matter the cost.
Emma was to be the offering, her blood, the price of his ambition. She was chosen not by chance, but by design. Her life, her essence, was the key to unlocking the power Johnny sought. The ritual would bind her soul to the dark forces, sealing her fate. Trapped, betrayed, she looked into Johnny's eyes. The man she thought she knew was gone, replaced by a monster. His gaze was cold, devoid of the warmth she once believed was there. The betrayal cut deep, a wound that would never heal. The love she thought she saw was gone, replaced by a chilling emptiness. The realization hit her like a tidal wave, drowning her in despair. The man she loved was a lie, a facade hiding a dark, twisted soul. Her heart ached with the weight of this truth. The hunter had become the hunted. The tables had turned, and now she was the prey. The forest around her seemed to close in, the shadows growing darker, more menacing. She could feel the eyes watching her, the presence of the hunter drawing ever closer. Her only hope was to escape, to find a way out of this nightmare. But the darkness was relentless, and the hunter was always one step ahead.